Scott, what's up, Scott? And I want to say that we got an amazing meeting today. And what is this meeting about? Why am I so excited? Why can't I can't sit still? It's because this is a knowledgeable meeting, a success workshop about how to create a backup plan, how to create income for yourself that's going to be able to help you besides your full time job. Right now, I work at Pfizer. Right, I work at my own full time job. It's 6 a.m. to 2:30. But the thing is, I'm actually more excited to learn more from the speakers from today, just because they're actually not just working for their bachelor's degree and be able to get everything all settled from that way, but they're also creating a side income that's known as job insurance. Has anyone heard about something like job insurance before? You know what insurance is, though, right? Yeah. So it's basically insuring, let's say life insurance, ensuring that you have a backup plan in case anything happens to your life. Car insurance, and say in case anything happens to your car, is being able to have backup. But why not job insurance? That's not a thing that's created within society. But that's something that we can create within our own hands by having the right tools and having the right knowledge. So I would say open your mind, open yourself, your mind up, have yourself get excited. That excitement is going to breed that openness so that you could be able to gain the most from today. And so if you gain the most from today, it might even change your life. It might even change the direct trajectory of your own life and your own family's life. So then if you take this in tonight, man, especially in this Clark Hall, SJSU, if you thought SJSU was amazing, this tonight is going to be even more amazing. So I want to bring up the two amazing speakers, Tree and MK, to the stage. Right now, get your notes ready, get ready, and let's get it down. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. Thank you, Bella.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My brother.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. No problem.
Yeah, hello guys. What's up? Good evening, folks. Yeah, gonna have some fun tonight. Yeah, thank you for the warm welcome, Dula. Man, I love your hosting every single time. Just get pumped up, super fired up. Yeah, but it's great. Today's Wednesday night. Mostly on Wednesday night, they're just at home, chilling, doing homework or playing games. But we really appreciate your time in coming here to listen to us to share some of our experiences. Being students, also having a job, and also doing our own startup on the side as well. Yeah. Anything you want to add, MK? Absolutely. And just the fact that you guys are here today. But now we do have some people plugging in on Zoom, for those who can't make it. But for those who did come in, I applaud you guys because you guys are in the most tumultuous time of the year. This is finals and project and deadline season. So what the heck are you guys in a workshop for, But that just goes to show that you guys, may have the mindset looking for the extra mile, looking for extra to pursue as well, not just within your own pursuits line of sight. So I'm great. It's great to be here, and I love to kind of also get to know some folks here as well, right? We have. Can you introduce yourself one more time? Name's Scott. Nice to meet you. Yeah, my name's. I know it says Michael, but if you're close to me, you can just call me MK. I really don't mind, right? And what about you? Henry? Gotcha. Good to meet you guys, Scott and Henry. Well, you guys already met Dula, Asadula, Shakur. That's my man. But I guess kicking started, can I ask you folks, what your reason, what motivation for joining us today? Oh, welcome. We have a few more people coming in. Okay. But starting with you, Scott, do you have any purpose for showing up today? What are you looking to find out? Okay, yes. I like that. Yeah. Very open-minded. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you, Henry? Oh, interesting. Okay. You have a very, I guess, financially oriented mindset. I like that, and I guess today, just to give you a heads up too, I would love to share more about the aspect of financial empowerment or financial wellness in today's century. But for the most part, I feel like a lot of us need a lot of pre-context when it comes to why we actually need certain lifestyles or certain incomes in our life. Not just, making a lot of money, that's you're set for life. We have to dig a little bit deeper into ourselves and what our purpose and motivation is, right? So, Dre can set the stage for
for today, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course. So like what we're gonna about share before we get to like the main content. I just want to share a little bit, about my experiences. I think these kind of events back in the past and how to maximize it with this concept called internalization. And what do you mean by to internalize something? It means you're taking what you know and you combine it with your own experience. And you can get experience through your life experiences, actual life experiences, things you've gone through, or you can imagine yourself being in the shoes. Because there's a difference between you knowing something and you learning something, right? And to learn is to take the knowledge and put it inside you as well,
Right.
make it become a part of you.
Exactly, and I perfectly understand between you and me, Jay, like we may be similar, right? Skin color wise, right? But we
Yeah.
grew up differently. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a shared interest or a shared destination. And so to internalize, I'd say is despite Scott or Henry being different or having different values than us, like what we want to share is so that it can transfer onto you guys your own perspective, your own version of what you want to work towards. And that's our responsibility here today, is to be able to expand your horizon, to expand the ways in which you look at your goals in future, right? And so even myself, like I'm pretty sure like Scott or Henry, you guys can't relate to me too much. I grew up here, nhưng mà anh cũng là người Việt luôn. Basically, I also speak my mother tongue, but I'm learning how to connect more with my community. But because of that, I saw my parents having to work a multitude of jobs. At most, I saw 4 or 5 at a time, working from a nanny to a restaurant worker to Panda Express cashier. So many different jobs all at once, just to be able to make a living for myself. And so that experience carried me over to why I'm pursuing entrepreneurship, why I'm pursuing financial freedom in the first place. I don't want to have that be the reality for the rest of our life. So that's kind of how I grew up to have that focus on entrepreneurship and business ownership. What about you, Jay? What's your background?
Yeah, for me, I think I relate more to like Scott or Henry because I'm also born and raised in Vietnam. I'm from the South, if you don't know. Yeah, I've been there for 14 years already. So, basically when I was gave birth to when I was young, up until the end of my middle school there when I was 14. So I moved to America. And like to be honest with you, when I moved here, I just want to pursue a better life. I just want to make money, have a good job, get a degree, and just, live life. But what I soon realized is that in order to succeed in a different environment, in order to thrive in like, a new community environment, then we gotta change the way we think, And for me, my background is very educational based, which is, my parents, my uncles, cousin, they're also like very highly educated, doctors, lawyers, have my master, PhD. So I thought that was what I needed in order to succeed in life. But coming here, I realized that it takes more to succeed in America, which is you have to have IQ, EQ. You have to know some people. You have to have like a good network, so they can be able to help you to achieve your success and get that like the American dream.
Yeah,
That's
I'd
what
say
we would
so.
say. Yeah.
And the American dream was realized for me based upon what my parents had set up for me. But then, like what I realized, as I got older, was what looked like the American dream. So eventually ended up looking like the American nightmare. I'll go a little bit about that later on. Just because you have bills and you have mortgage and you have like a tuition, college debt, and like, man, how am I gonna solve all this? Being first gen and all, right? So I needed to like figure out other ways to approach my goals, right?
Yeah.
And that's I guess it's starting with what we call a paradigm shift. Now, who's heard of that word before? It's so technical engineering sounding, right?
Yeah.
But how would you the best describe a paradigm shift, Jay?
I think we're like with a friendly term, we say paradigm shift. It's just something like a change of mindset. And what do I mean by mindset? It's what you think, the way you view the world. Because there's a saying that if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. And I think that's what paradigm shift is. If you want to change the way, how you make money, you have to define money differently, and you have to view money in a different way from other people.
Yeah, because like the same $5, right? You may look at it at $5, but the way it was made can completely change the way that you live your life, for example. And so what I like to call that is what's called known zone. I think we
Mm.
each grow up with our like known zone, meaning, oh, for my whole life, I've known that I've been good at math, I have good grades, or I've known I'm introverted. So there's no freaking way I can go into business, go into entrepreneurship because I hate talking to people, right? So we all have that prefix thinking about ourselves, what we call a known zone. And that is what either like keeps us the same or actually allows us to break away from those conditions as well. You know, for me, my known zone was very like, I'm a good kid. Meaning,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's that's like a majority of us too.
Yeah.
Just want to be a good kid, but yeah, you know,
Yeah,
continue.
meaning I'll do no wrong. I was praying my whole life. I going to temple, and I was the golden child. But then the moment I, went to entrepreneurship, my mom was shocked to find out, oh, I sneak out of the house to go to like conventions, and I would do things like take the bus in my business suit, and then come back home dressed out of it, and then she go home thinking I just came out of school. I would do things like that, the rebel kid, and like my whole life I never did anything like that. But that created a new version of me that I never knew existed. What about you?
Yeah, no, I think for me, it's a little bit different from MK, but what I shared earlier, right? I grew up in a very educational background, which is, I guess all I knew back then was just to go to school, get a good grade. I was actually like the top 3 kid in school for like, for 10 years in a row. So that who I was, that was my self identity. And I think a lot of it come from, I just want to have like that validation from my family, and also want to, just be like a good kid to my parents as well, because what they want to see from me was not someone who's want to, be very extroverted, who really outgoing, but to just have a good career. And how we define that is through our GPA or like, grades in school and things like that too.
Yeah, who kind of felt that way too? Like Scott or Henry, you guys felt like you guys were emphasized so much on the GPA that you felt like you lost sight of like what who you really are. You guys felt like that way growing up? Normal grades, yeah. I mean, normal is also really good too as an expectation.
Yeah, but I think like, who I was back then was very much based on like the other people expectation of me, and like, and I based my self identity around that. So I was slowly losing myself, but more about just, people like other people molding me into
Who you are today.
who I am today.
Yeah, exactly. And so as you can probably understand from the content of our today is we want you today not just to only focus on entrepreneurship or business ownership. I want you guys to go through your own life journey with us, right? Understand like from the very beginning who you are as a person, what your self-concept, and how to actually break away from feeling validated, like you said, from other people, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually down the line, it becomes more possible to understand entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship can sometimes be a very extreme form of rebellion, right? So we gotta figure out how to protect ourselves and our dreams and our goals from the noise out there, right?
Well said.
Yeah, and so you guys see the agenda already. I won't like take up any more time, right? So with that said, I'd just like to go ahead and move first to like what I like to view as our self-identity, self-concept, who you are as a person. How do we even shape that up, right? Can I ask maybe Scott, like, how do you have any hobbies yourself? Playing soccer. Gotcha.
Same.
Okay, and so
Yeah,
how
Vietnamese
did you? yeah, let's go. We actually a free promotion soccer game this Saturday. You're more than welcome to join us, right? But for you, Scott, like, how did soccer become like an emphasis for yourself? Like, did you do it often, or you just picked it up and liked it, or you became good at it? How did it become something you felt drawn towards? Mm-hmm. Okay,
I think
yeah.
like a lot of it, I think comes from like, like what I mean, vintage culture is that we have a lot of like, just like old people, they just watch soccer game or like on the street at a restaurant.
Yeah.
So like the more we see, the more influence there are, the more influence we will be.
Exactly. It's the same thing as stereotypes. If you think about like someone who's Chinese, for example, first thing comes to mind, oh, table tennis, badminton, right? It becomes something that's so commonplace to hear about that people feel like they naturally need to go towards that direction, because if they don't belong to that group, they don't belong to that culture. And so what that ends up happening is a lot of times we are chasing multiple identities of ourselves, and we're chasing the version that's not really us. We're chasing the version that people want to see from us, right? And so that's why I felt like it was appropriate to put who watched Avatar before we can relate. You know, this is the famous line when Uncle Iroh said, Zuko, it's time that you start thinking about the serious question, the big question. Who are you and what do you want? Right? Because I've certainly felt that what I was chasing came from what I was born into. I was born into poverty. Like I wasn't like dirt broke, but I knew, I internalized that we don't go out to eat restaurant, we don't go on a vacation. If we ever spent money, then I felt like I was so scared to spend more. You know, so I always had to like save and be frugal, and my mom always told like emphasize saving. And I have a oldest brother who's the complete opposite. He spends on anything he wants. So I always felt like I needed to delay gratify myself, right? And so a lot of the times, we chase the version of ourselves from what we were born into, right?
Yeah. But I think for me, like, I can a little bit relate with you about, living a very frugal life. But for me, it wasn't frugal. I have enough food to eat, my parents to go to work, but they can provide me with the very basic things in life. But for me, like, I think it was just like a cycle that repeats, like, if you heard the term, living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was me and my family and how I grew up as well. Because like I can't afford, like boba or like eating out with dinner. But then things like adding on, like when you eat ramen, right? When you get like extra noodle or like extra pork, then I feel very hesitant to order that, even though it's like 1-2 bucks extra. Because like deep down inside, I just know that my family and myself, we cannot afford to live a more extravagant life. And if we mess up with anything, then our life and our finances will be in danger.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
Yeah.
why a lot of people you find themselves floating around in life. I felt that way before. Like we're just cruising along, going to school, just because we're following alongside what was already laid out for us, without really understanding the purpose behind it or the context for which we're doing something. For example, the context is like somebody who dropped out of college. For example, Mark Zuckerberg, when he dropped out of Harvard, he went and built Facebook, Meta now. And people think, oh, like, dropping out of college means that I get to become a billionaire. But for him, he also grew up with well-off parents. So with that context in mind, it allowed him to basically like exit out of college and pursue his entrepreneurship goals. But for some people, that's not possible because they have to have a college degree in order to break out of the socioeconomic curse, right? So I challenge you guys, if you guys are feeling a bit lost, just to like identify like if like the context for why you feel lost, where is that coming from, the root behind it, and figure out how we can actually lay it all out and then analyze it so we can figure out what is the source of our problems. For me, the source of my family problem, like I've been saying, is just working minimum wage mentality. You have the
Yeah.
minimum wage mindset, you get the minimum wage income, right? And so I'm not sure if you felt that. I've always been very rebellious, so I never
Rebellious?
felt like I needed to follow anybody. But what about
Oh.
you, Jay?
I think, but I mean, for me, like this one where we kind of different. Because for me, I was like a very big follower, and I feel like we're
Yeah.
like especially when it came to America, back when I was like 14, 15, I feel like the only way for me to kind of fit into the environment was to follow what everyone else was doing. Like dress a certain way, you have to talk a certain way, and then you have to cuss a certain way. So,
Yeah.
like those
You
kind of
picked up
things.
the languages from our environment a
and,
lot.
and like for me, I think there's something wrong with that. Because like human, we're social creatures. We just basically it's impossible for us to live without interacting with people. More or less. So I think that was my attempt to kind of fit in with the environment as well. But slowly, as I progressed in life, and as I went to like college, first year, second year, I realized that a lot of things I was doing, go to parties, I play game till like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. I spend money very extravagantly and very irresponsibly. I feel like it was fun in the moment, but at the end of the day, I feel empty inside.
Yes, keep up with the Joneses. Like, who here has been on Instagram and seen every single story be about the last K-pop concert? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, for those nodding, then maybe you guys don't have social media, right? But yeah, it's like if you're not there, then you're not in the in group, you're not in the in crowd, right? So a lot of times we do things because we want to fit in But if you really want to have a sense of life or purpose, you have to have what's called a sense of agency, meaning you are self-determinant of what you want. You create your decision is your own, and you built it from your own actual like motivation, not because everybody else is doing it, right? And so that's how you can escape the bandwagon effect, and which leads to you being able to choosing the right thing, right? It's your own choice and it's your life, and you live with the consequences, but also the rewards of your choices. So it's time to be more executive about your decisions instead of just going what everybody else thinks, right? Have your own opinion, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And I want to talk a little bit about like some of our money traumas as well. I'm not sure if you guys know what this means, but to some extent, everybody has a certain money trauma. Even if you grew up with so much money, that is even considered money trauma.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. I mean, I think with money trauma, it's not about how much money you have or how little money you have, but it's just like what your relationship with money is. Because there's like there's like a research that I found online the other day, right? And it said that actually like kids, like children, they actually start thinking about money and they're learning the concept of money as young as the age of 3. So and a lot of it comes from our parents like discussion about money. Like for me, they were just talking about like just how can we kind of live like
Yeah.
maximize this
It's like
paycheck
we each
without
have a relationship with money.
overspending.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the relationship with money has a lot to do with our core values. For example,
Mhm.
like for Henry, like what are some of the money habits that you picked up as you grew up? You know, like what to spend on, like what's a good purchase, stuff like that. What are some of the habits you picked up?
Yeah, like if they give you like let's say $100 now, right? What would you buy? Or like what would you do with it? Buy, save, invest, whatsoever.
Yeah, just
Okay.
save and keep it. And saving that money must have come from seeing your parents not really buy much. Like they're okay with a decent house and a decent car, but they don't need to buy the next Tesla. They don't need to buy the next Gucci bag, right? They can just drive a Toyota Camry. That's my parents, right?
Yeah.
And even for others, right? If you grow up from what's called a middle income family, imagine you start seeing it's more normalized for you to buy the next Tesla because you can pay off the payment installments. And
Payment
so
installment.
that could be a money habit too, is you think that everything can just be paid off with installments, right? If you don't have enough to afford it, just pay it off with installments. And
Yeah.
that came from you seeing that from your parents, right? And we have to ask ourselves, is that the right way to approach how to spend money? Can it really give us like what's called an asset or ROI, return of investment in the future, which we'll talk about later on, right? So I just want you guys to encourage you guys that look back, trace back. Your relationship with money has a lot to do with how you succeed in the future. Because if you don't know how to what's called manage your money or have a relationship with your money, then you are bound to pick up a lot of like habits without even knowing. There are like broke habits versus rich habits. You have to be able to differentiate the two.
Yeah, like there's something I want to add before we move on is that there's a difference between like a millionaire just
Mindset?
having like $1 million.
That's true.
Like a millionaire is someone who knows how to make $1 million over and over and over again. So it's in the mind. But having $1 million doesn't mean that you know how to make that million in the first place. Like if you look at a lot of like lottery winners, right? Lottery winners, then they just have that $1 million, but the next year they go broke, homeless again.
That's true.
Yeah, so I think that a lot of it comes from the way we think about money and our relationship with money.
Well said,
Thank
Jay.
you.
Thank you for that. Okay, and like I want to address a few like discourse I've been hearing a lot on YouTube and also from education as well. It's if we want to start making money, we have to start understanding some of the inhibitions, what is preventing us from achieving our goals. And for most of us here, the reason why we're in education is because we have that ambition, desire to come out, find a well-paying job, and that's what the most common method is to make money out there. It's the most predictable.
Yeah.
I'd argue, right? But there are a lot of problems with that if we think that's the only option, because we cannot predict everything in the future. And what I want to show you guys later on is not to discourage you guys, but it's actually to help you be aware of what conditions or situation you're in, so that you more open-minded to other avenues, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah. But like, because yeah, because I feel like a lot of people like these days, when they choose like a job decision or a career decision, they only look at the good things, but like they don't really consider, what are the percentages of achieving that goal. Let's say you want to make 200K in the tech field, right?
mhm.
Then I mean, there's some people who can make it. It's not really possible, but what are the what are like the
all stacked against your
percentages? Yeah,
favor
yeah, yeah,
type of
yeah.
thing, right?
I think
And
that's the purpose here. To really show
yeah,
like some numbers.
yeah. And if you want to go engineering, go for it, right?
Yeah.
Really chase after it. But you should also be aware of the economic situations which may affect you as you're looking, right? So this video actually
Driving massive inequality between the top 1% and the rest of us are creating a vast generational wealth gap between baby boomers, my generation, and millennials. Millennials aren't teenagers anymore. They're working hard, starting families, trying to build wealth, but as a generation, they are more behind. They're deeper in debt, only half as likely to own a home, and more likely to live in poverty than their parents. If we want to address their problems, we need to understand those problems. Number one, stagnant wages. Median wages grew by an average of 0.3% per year between 2007 and 2017, including the Great Recession, just as millennials were beginning their careers. Before that, between the mid-1980s and mid-1990s, wages grew at 3 times that rate. Second, as wages have stagnated, the costs of essentials like housing and education have been going through the roof. Millennials own fewer homes. The most common way Americans have built wealth in the past. Education costs have soared. Adjusted for inflation, the average college education in 2018 cost nearly 3 times what it did in 1978. 3. And as a result of all of this, debt. That expensive college education means the average graduate carries a whopping $28,000 in student loan debt. As a generation, millennials owe more than $1 trillion in the red. In addition, the average young adult carries nearly $5,000 in credit card debt, and the number is growing. Fourth, millennials are finding it harder than previous generations to save for the future. Among Fortune 500 companies, only 81 sponsored a pension plan in 2017. That's down from 288 20 years ago. Employers are replacing pensions with, essentially, do-it-yourself savings plans. All of this means fewer millennials are entering the middle class than previous generations. Most have less than $1,000 in savings. Many young people today won't be able to retire until 75, if at all.
Wow.
Hey,
yeah,
Man, that was
that was
eye-opening for me.
it's scary if you think about it, huh?
I mean, this is like millennials, but we're like Gen Z.
Yeah.
That's like what, 2 generations
Two
ahead?
generations ahead, and
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on for Gen Alpha, Gen Beta, all that
Oh,
stuff
man,
later
God
on.
bless, bro.
God bless. Yeah, but jokes aside, right? Can I ask maybe Scott or Henry or you, Asadullah? I didn't get your name. Sorry, miss, that came in. What's your name? Nora. Nice to meet you, Nora.
Okay,
Yeah,
man.
so maybe anybody can share, how does this relate to you guys? When you look at this, like, what comes to mind about some of your goals? Asadullah?
I won't be debt free, man.
Mm,
Just because, like, my parents, like, their view of money is different from like how money is used now. So my mom was like, "Oh yeah, you can take it out loan, and then you can also like, you know, just be able to pay it off eventually." Okay, but then you didn't know it was a lot harder.
yeah.
Like now that I have a loan, I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that average is so true."
Yeah, the reason why we take out loans, like student loans, for example, is because we have the expectation to earn. But what if the earning power is affected, right?
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
how can we pay off? And so, as you know, wealth is inherited, but so is debt, right? So
True.
if you are born into debt, then guess what? You inherit it. You have to make up for it from the past generation. So I just know my motivation is I don't want to be in debt and having my kids to make up for my mess. Right? I want to set them up for the best life possible. Things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you get the next slide, please? Right. And I just threw in a few facts for you guys here to understand a bit more about, say, any goals that you guys have. Things like debt is increasing in records. It takes on average 10 to 30 years to pay off your debts. That includes loan, mortgages. If you take a business loan, start a business, then you're going to have to, it might be about 5 to 10 years before you even break even, for example. Next slide. Next slide. And I know most of us are in college. On average, we pay what, 4K, San Jose State?
About 4K per semester.
Right, and then UC is around 14K,
Yeah.
private 40 plus K, right? And so there are a lot of institutions which, you know, no, I don't mean to disrespect them, but yeah, profit off of us, right? Yeah, and so if you're an international student, then God
It's
bless.
like double, triple the,
Double, triple the amount, right? It's the
price,
main
yeah.
revenue
Very
driver.
expensive.
And so, if we understand that, we should also understand that that rate will continue on for the next 2 generations. So by the time our kids end up going to college, then those college tuition might as well triple, right? Because it's done so since the past 2 decades ago, right? From what used to be a 1K tuition is now a 4K tuition within a matter of a decade. Right, so the value of education is getting increasing because more people are doing it. It's a basic commodity now. It's just the same as having shampoo or brushing your teeth. Everybody uses it, and if when everybody uses it, the value of it goes down. Right, so that encourages people to go and like get more education, more masters, doctorates, and by the time I don't know, this is a joke, but by the time 2050 hits, you need a doctorate degree to work a minimum wage job. You know?
I mean, like a lot of like minimum wage job, I think they require like at least 1 2 year up experience.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense to me. You know, it's like
Yeah.
entry level minimum wage.
I have an example. My brother graduated from UC Davis 2014. Back then, the idea of an internship did not exist for him at all. It was just as easy as once you get your degree, you can go find a job. But the idea of internship got more popularized around the late 2010s when the education became more prominent in a lot of states, right? In which companies had to find out how to filter out more highly achieved students through internships. And now not just 1, but 4 or 5 within college. So can I get the next slide?
I believe that college education is great, but I don't think it's the only thing you need to succeed or like at least have a job right now as well. Because maybe back in like our parents' age, going to like school and having a degree is something very privileged to have. You know, not everyone has access to it. But if you look at this day, like if you look at just the HSU campus, for example, you have like thousands of students in here. And you look at the number of campuses across California or like across America, that's how many people you're going to be competing against. So, like the more popular education is,
populated to
the harder it is to actually
land a job.
Yeah,
Just think about CS. Almost 35% of this campus is CS major, if you don't know, right? Yeah. And so a lot of us, we also have the expectation that, CS, tech job, damn, 6 figures is easy money,
Yeah.
But that's not really the case because, World Statistics, states that within the matter of 16 years, it actually took of working, it takes you 16 years just for your income to increase by 50%, not even double, right? And so from 70K to 111K, right? That took 16 years of work. And compared to wage deflation or inflation, everything's getting more costly at a faster rate. So ask yourself, can your rate increase in income match the rate of the cost of living?
I think that like with the with the 16-year gap, I think like you have to face at least one recession as well, because there's a recession every 8 to 12 years. Yeah. So it's the question of whether or not you can survive through that recession of like a year. Like the previous one is probably COVID. We're still in it right now, still the job recession right now.
Yeah,
but I think that's when the path to getting that 6 figure is kind of shaky and wavy as well.
Yeah. And I won't joke about this. You guys already know getting homes in America, California is getting nearer to impossible. It took our mentor $1.5 million house. That was within the matter of like having a business in 8-9 years, right?
8-9 years.
Yeah, and you won't see people paying it off full by cash. They will have to pay like down payment. You never see like 50% down. It's like always 10 or
20% is like the recommended, but it's kind of hard to get.
But nowadays, getting that is like you might have to work like your butt off until 6 years to save out that much money, right? And so if you think about a house, you got to learn how to not just rely on one source of income, but scale your income too, right? And you must note that recessions happen once every 10 years. Right now, Scott, how old are you about? How old are you? 20? Okay, 10 years from now, you'll be 30. By then, you'll be thinking about buying a house. You might have a wife or a fiance, thinking of getting kids. 10 years from now, how can you become recession-proof? You must ask yourself that. Okay. And so I do have some concept about downsizing as well. I see Scott smiling, so maybe he's maybe seen this happen or occur around him before. But who here knows what downsizing is? Any volunteers? Yeah, Dula?
I see Dula nodding. Yeah.
Aren't you
Oh.
in Pfizer? Like, have you ever seen that happen within Pfizer, Dula?
Not with Pfizer, but with my
Ooh,
I was
yeah.
working with and they had like we had your numbers, and then they just found out from someone who worked there that your order was 70 million. We reached 50 million.
Oh,
Like, to recycle, they just decided to cut 20%.
20%.
20%,
Oh
1/5.
my god.
Yeah.
Just so they can reach the 70.
Yeah. And here's the fact too. I'm pretty sure all the employees there, they were the hardest working employees there is. They had kids, a wife in their 50s, right? Maybe been working there for 20 plus years. So loyal. But no matter how loyal you are, is the company loyal to you or loyal to the bottom line? Most of the time, if the sales is not are not being met, then something has to go. And what the companies think of letting go to at first, human resource. I'm an HR major. I should know, right? So it's like it's like something that we don't talk about, but it happens.
Yeah,
Right,
and
and
I mean, like from
we
like
lost
a
our trust
business
that way.
owner perspective, I feel
Mhm.
like it's very normal to let the employee first because like business owner, right? If I were to become one, like a big
Yeah.
corporation owner myself, then I'll think about the investment versus the expense.
Yeah.
Investment is something that can put money in your pocket, or expense is something that can take money out of your pocket. So if your employee is not working as productive as they should be, and if they're not making enough money for you to cover their like salary, then they're being let go.
Mhm.
And like the more you work at a company, the higher your salary will be, which means that you're more susceptible to being laid off as well and being let
Yeah,
go.
because you're a huge expense of the company,
Mhm.
right? I don't know if the company can afford to keep you any longer because your salary expectation is so high.
Yeah.
I literally this morning, no joke, someone like one of my connections on LinkedIn, I asked to caught up with her, and then she told me like, yeah, she got laid off this morning from Tesla charging. Yeah, and the charging department. She's been there for 2 years. She's out of college, really committed to, and that just happens. Like it just happens, like bam, bam, bam,
Like
these
that.
days.
Yeah.
Without even noticing. It's like, who am I? Am I just like a disposable commodity? Sometimes that's how I feel. That's how my parents have felt.
Yeah,
many years.
yeah. It's like my work is very transactional, like very easily replaceable. Like if I'm not there, then any person can easily replace me.
100%,
Yeah.
right? And so I'll just skip through all of this right now just because you guys have already understood. If you guys are in data science, CS, you guys should know that, you guys are responsible for us losing. I'm just joking, right? But there are a lot of cases where no matter how skilled we are, we can never be as skilled as machine, right?
Yeah.
More efficient as them. And if machines can work for free,
They don't ask for day off,
yeah,
and
Then-
they don't get like fatigue.
they don't get
sick,
pregnant.
complain.
They don't need pregnancy breaks, things like
Yeah.
that. Sick paid a lot
They
off.
just need to be like plugged in and like maintenance every month or so.
Yeah, and
Very efficient.
very efficient. Then that means what's left for the work for people to do, right?
Yeah. exactly.
So yeah, just a few things. We have already summarized these, but companies lay you off when roles are no longer needed. The firm is reorganizing, right? Just last year, I was working in management consulting, and because the company was restructuring, was having new partners and losing a few partners as well, then there wasn't enough revenue stream to keep me. So I was the first to be let go.
Oh,
right?
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it happens, and I expected it anyways. That's why I had a backup job and a backup business. It's kind of my my thinking ahead mentality that got
That's
me through.
smart, man.
Yeah. So the first job is brought out by other companies by merging with them, and the whole company shuts down and goes out of business, which happened. You said the pandemic with Fry's Electronics, so on and so forth, right? Unless you've been living under a rock, even the best of the best companies like Meta, Microsoft, they lay off waves of people at once, right? It's inhumane, but it happens. And so you may be working in tech, but can are you working in tech or is tech working in you? Which means
Mm.
like your tech is working your butt off and you don't have any things to back you up,
Yeah.
right? Um, yeah, and all of us are Gen Z, I hear, right? And so, just considering all of this, what can we do as Gen Z to mitigate, to offset all of these things, right? We're the generation that has the most need for mental health, for spiritual wellness, not just making money like our parents. They're not in survival mode. You know, us, we're in living mode too. We want to live our life.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, companies will work you to the bone where your life is just a passing thought. There's no mention of mental health. There's no concept of work-life balance. It's just work.
Yeah, like, I've never noticed, like, if my boss ever asking you, like, how you been? How's your family?
Yeah.
Or like, you doing okay? Like, these kind of questions, this is kind of very, like, common question that show care and love. I don't really hear about from my workplace or my boss, but it's just more about, like, how's the KPI, or like, how many customers you talk to today? What's your sell? This is this kind of thing, and I feel
Yeah.
like I'm just, like a person there just being worked to the
They're like a
bone.
zombie.
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
way.
yeah. It's like a zombie.
You're just showing up there. Like literally, I've kid you not. Like there are days when I wake up and poof, I'm at work. That's just how it feels like. I'm not sure if you felt that way at Pfizer. It's just like wake up, go, done. It's just there in a flash, right? So that what that means is feels like life is just flashing through your eyes when you're just mindlessly working. Right? Not again. I'm not the type of person to bash on work or to like put work down, put job down. That's my intention. It's really to help you guys internalize and understand for yourselves like what else is there going on in your life that you need to prioritize and consider,
Mhm.
right? So I did have this video. I would gladly share the link with you guys, but for the convenience of time, I'd like to share that another time, right?
Yeah.
And so just reflecting on everything that we've talked about so far with your personal economy, right? Knowing that all of these factors are at play, let me ask you guys, what are some things you change? That's a big question you need to start asking yourself starting today. And some of you guys are graduating, and we need to start figuring out how can we set ourselves up for success, right? Next slide. Perfect. And so I also want to understand too, like everyone understands that money is so important. That's what we've been talking about since the beginning. You need money to afford things, to afford a house, to buy groceries and pay tuition. But there are a lot of things we can't buy with just money alone,
Mhm.
right? And that commodity is called time. It's
Time.
called freedom, right? And so I grew up with my parents work, like I told you, 4 jobs. And so what I remember since I was 6 is the only time I see my mom is when I wake up, she wakes me up, she makes breakfast, I get dropped off at school. And then after that, I walk home. I won't see her until 11 p.m.
Wow.
That's
11
every
p.m.?
single day.
Every single day.
Every single day.
And how long
And it's
did that
not like
last?
not close to my mom, but that affected the ways in which we understood each other. Right? She's the type of person who, if I'm stressed at life or I'm depressed, she's concerned. She wants to know, but she's like in a rush. Like I want to help talk to Minka, but I don't have the time to.
Mm.
You know, so I look at that just in love with her even more because she had to put aside her life away just to make money so that I can have food on the table, things like that. But there are some certain needs that money cannot buy.
Yeah, I think for me, I share a similar story and situation as well.
Mhm.
Because like since the moments I was born up until I was like 5 to 6 years old, I mostly grew up around my grandma. And the reason why is that my mom, she works in like HR, my dad he was an accountant. So this office job, 9 to 5 kind of things, right? And like, but even with that, but like the only time I see them is at the dinner table. But the thing is that when at the dinner table, they always have those kind of like money talk. It's not
Yeah.
about like, how's your day been, or like, is there anything we can do to like make you happy? It's more about what should we do with this paycheck for like this week or this month.
Yeah.
And like, back then I really hated it.
Mhm.
Like I'm your kid. Why don't you invest your time in me? But like as I grew up now, I understand more and more,
Mhm.
and I realized that what took my parents away from me back then wasn't dumb, but it was because of like the job that they have and like the paycheck, because they were being controlled by money and by their boss, and and everything around their life, which is me included, was also being influenced by it as well.
Yeah. And so I'm under the impression too that depending on who we grew up, there are a lot of us, especially when we're school, that when we work a job and we have a good paying job, to some that is a gateway for life or success. But there are some folks who view a job as a barrier to time, a barrier to availability, right?
Mm.
And so that's why you have to start asking yourself, what is your opportunity cost, right? When you're working a job, what are you giving up to make money? And for most people, that is time. And it's an exchange. It's a transaction,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you kind of trade time for money, But then for me, I feel like between time and money, the two commodities in the world, I think time is more precious
Yes.
because each of us, right? We always have like a deadline, like a time bank. If you think of it that way, if it if it if the timing it runs out, we're dead. We're like
Yeah.
6 feet under. But with money, if you over lose it, you can always make it back. So
Yeah.
just like the idea of trading time for money, trading something limited for something unlimited was kind of absurd to me. And
Yeah.
I
It's a
think
rare resource, and
Yeah.
something that we should absolutely treasure and value. We
Yeah.
shouldn't just like give it up for something so minor,
Yeah.
in my opinion, right? And if you don't believe me, believe in this video, which will can clearly show you just how much time we actually have left on this. We don't believe, but have time left on Earth to actually live.
2017 survey indicated that about 50% of U.S. workers describe themselves as unsatisfied or unhappy in their job. In another 2017 study conducted worldwide, when asked anonymously, 85% of workers admitted to disliking or hating their job. At such a large percentage, it is rather likely that one of these people might be you. Or perhaps you don't necessarily hate or dread your job, but you find yourself rarely ever enjoying it or feeling inspired by it, and are always wishing for the weekend, always wanting the week to be over and for it to be Friday night. If this is the case and your life enjoyment is based almost entirely on the weekend, let's see what happens when we subtract all the
You can
weekends
relate.
from your remaining 40 years of
Yeah.
life. There is an
Wow.
average of 260 workdays in a year, not including holidays. After subtracting those across your remaining 40 years, your number of days goes from 14,600 all the way down to 4,200, leaving you
Dang.
but if you figure you retire at an average age of around 63, you might say that you should get some of those days back. But if you also figure that in the US, the chance of having a disability or mental impairment is 68% for people over the
My
age
grandma
of
has
65,
schizophrenia.
this isn't exactly the time of your life to hold out for and claim as years filled with happiness and enjoyment. So in fact, I would argue that in terms of desirable life, we should actually take at least a portion of those days away. First, let's give you them all back, but then let's consider that after the age of 65, as you grow older and older, the likelihood of developing health conditions or having existing health conditions worsen only increases. So as a rough, generalized average, across all the years after retirement, all the way up until death, let's say a person has somewhere around 2 good, healthy, enjoyable days out of every 7. Now, you are exactly right back where you were, with 11 years of remaining life. In theory,
Mm.
again, you went from what first sounded like a decent 60 years of remaining life, all the way down to only 11. And as an extra kicker, what if you have
Yeah. And so I want to express this as well too. This is there is a beauty behind this, which is how can we create time? Because for every problem, there must be a solution. And so I'm thinking in terms of what must I do in order to make my time count and make it increase, expand. I will get over that a little bit on when it comes to asset development. But in terms of like, I understand that we all grew up with different values, and some people value time over money or money over time. It just
Mhm.
depends on what was emphasized in your life, right? And so, but overall success, how I define it, is in the pursuit of something worthwhile. And a lot of the times, people are not in the state of happiness or success is because they're just living life for the moment. They're not chasing something that is driving them. And so if you find a purpose, you find a goal, you work for it, you really grind for it, then you're working towards something that's that is your identity. For
Yeah, I mean,
example.
like, just like adding on to that, I mean, I do agree, 100% with what you said. Is that success is not a destination; it's the pursuit of excellence. For
Yes.
something worthwhile. And like, for me, if I reflect back to myself with my own experience in the past, I feel like the moments that felt the most memorable to me, like you talk about school, right? It's maybe like running deadlines, like that one week is cramped and cramped.
Yeah.
But like the time I spent in like the lecture hall, like in the study room, like I didn't have any significant memory for it.
Mhm,
But just
mhm.
like I I aced that test or like I bombed that test just because I crammed last minute. I
Mhm.
think that was stick with me.
Yeah.
So it's not about like for me. I want to live a life with a lot of a lot of memories, and with memories, I have to create it through the pursuit of something.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
work hard
and
for
I
it.
think struggle too is a big factor of success, because for every success there's failure too. There's struggle, there's hardship, and so your character is built by all of the things that we cannot see on the surface.
Mhm.
Your education, your degree, right, was built by the nights you've stayed up, was the nights you've sometimes maybe even cried,
Yeah.
right, because you work so hard for something that you value. And so I totally respect you if you cry for your education, because something you really value, right?
Mhm.
And so I will cry for my mom that if she gets old and she's not like traveling, go to Disneyland with me, right? That's gonna be a like stab in the chest,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I
And
mean,
so that's why I'm so motivated to succeed, not because it's something that I really fight for, and that's why what makes successful people is the fight.
there's a saying that I really like from our mentor is that if you burn from the outside, you burn out. If you burn from the inside, you shine out.
Ooh,
Yeah, so I think like to reflect a little bit on a quote, it's like when you want to do something like let's say success, right? You have to work on yourself first,
mm-hmm.
because I think success is just a byproduct of of how you think, your mindset, and your action as well.
Right.
Because how you think will control the way you behave.
Yeah, and do
Will
yourself
produce a certain type of
exactly.
result.
Yeah. And I encourage you guys to do yourself a favor. If you're not at the point yet where you can create those own habits for yourself, then make it easy for yourself. Set yourself up. Hang around. Surround yourself with ambitious people who have good habits, who have an ambition, a drive for something, because it may not be naturally in you, but it can be adopted by you.
Mm.
So if you value people and yourself, then surround yourself with high quality people. That's what shaped me up as an American born. Very, like, I guess, go with the flow, but I surround myself with immigrants, international students, people who their life is at stake.
Like more hustling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they don't succeed. But yeah. Next slide. Yeah, these are just some of the common regrets. This is the part that I really want you to analyze. I recommend you all take a picture of this, get your phones out. This is by far one of the most essential concepts you'll ever know in your life, which is, what are you working towards?
Mhm.
Whenever decision you make, what does it lead you to have an abundance of, right? And so can I ask God, if you're working towards a degree, towards a good paying job, out of all these 8 aspects or areas of life, which one does your degree satisfy? Which one can it provide you more of? Yeah, any of them. The words, not the number. Yeah, there's a lot of personal growth in going for a degree. You stretch yourself mentally. What about for Henry? What else is obtained from getting a degree? All of them? How so? Yeah, good job, good pay, money. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Perfect. I love the fact that you connected one to the other, because it's not had at the same time. It's at the certain ones are direct results from the obtainment of something in abundance, right? And so, as for myself, I love the fact that you mentioned personal growth, because for me, imagine like the example with the lottery. You gain $1 million, you have so much money, but without the personal growth, you destroy it, because you're not responsible. You don't have good character to control your emotions, right? To handle a lot of money like that, right? So personal growth is the concrete behind every building, behind SJSU, right? It's the work ethic it took to see the vision for something to last long, right? And then once you have that personal growth, then now here's the question: do you work on getting more freedom or getting more finance? What does Scott think? What do you think after you get more personal growth? Which one should you work towards first, finance or freedom?
Freedom to
Go ahead.
do what you like without any control. Like if you want to wake up at like a certain time, then you can wake up. Freedom to just pursue your like hobby, like swimming, gym, soccer. Without any worry in the world. I think that's what I define freedom as. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, because you have the time to do so. I love that. Yeah, because I've seen thousands of cases where people are making a 6, 7 figure salary from their jobs. They're doctors, but in order for them to continue to make that money, they have to show up to work again and again and again. So they may be making money, but they cannot break away from that. They have to continue to show up, right? But versus freedom, you can be making like almost $40,000 of passive income annually, right? But because it's passive income, you buy your life back, you buy your time back. You can either, if you're okay with $40,000, then you can base your real life around 40K. But if you're more ambitious, guess what? You have freedom. Now have the freedom to make more money, to increase your scale, to expand your income, right? So I will always choose buying my freedom first. And once I do that, I can then work on more finances. Once I have all three, then guess what? Impact, entertainment, then traveling, leisure, then family time, relationship, all becomes higher in quality, not just in quantity.
Quantity.
Yeah, but I don't like living life in opportunity cost. I do not want to give up my family to make money. I don't want to give up my relationship to make money. I want to have all of them at the same time equally.
Yeah, like I want money to like work for me, not for me to work for money.
Yeah.
Because when money work for me, then I can use my time to do something else. You know, to spend time with the people I love, or to spend time doing what I love. You know, instead of just being there, make money, and see
Yeah.
my boss.
And like if you've seen Maslow's hierarchy from any English or psychology class, right? A lot of people are in that survival mode, which is just your physiological needs and your security needs. Pay off the mortgage, get food, and that's the daily grind. But then if your truest need is self-actualization, which is reaching the fullest potential of yourself, and if you're constantly stuck on surviving mode, you can never go into thriving mode. And thriving mode is only had when you have freedom in all 8 areas of your life, not just one over the 8.
Yeah.
Right. So I hope that you understand this concept and go back to the picture and reflect it back on yourself, what your true needs are. Right. And so the reason why that we both came here today is because we are on a pursuit of entrepreneurship excellence, meaning that we have a high standard to chase something, level up our life. We don't just want to accept the basic thing in life, right? And so a lot of us, we don't naturally have that entrepreneurship mentality. We grow it over time. And most of us confuse entrepreneurship with running a business.
Yeah.
But I'd argue entrepreneurship is a formula of life.
Yeah, like like as you said, right? A lot of people would mistaken entrepreneur as like running a business, because I think that's a lot of people they see online. Like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I do this kind of business, stock or like shoes, like drop shipping,
Yeah.
those kind of things like that. But for us, I think entrepreneurship is not the teaching of business, but it's the teaching of life principle.
Gotcha.
And what I mean by that is that how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Everything.
Yeah, like if you look at example of a janitor, for example, right? He has to clean like things very thoroughly and very like meticulously, very details. But if he can do that with like his cleaning, then when he do a business, then he'll be very meticulous with his finance, budgeting, things like that.
Solving problem to the root, getting all mess cleaned up, things like that.
Yeah.
Let me prove it to you guys in the audience here. Name me any trait that you can think of, like that you see from an entrepreneur. Any traits, quality of them. Scott, do you know anything?
Personal growth.
Emphasizing personal growth. Your inner self affects your outer self. Good. Henry? Yeah. Yeah. They have a perspective of how to handle problems, right?
So problem solving.
Problem solving. What
Problem
about
solving.
hope? What are some traits of an entrepreneur?
Some
Traits,
traits.
qualities. Yeah.
I like that.
I like
Think outside the
that,
box,
right? Yeah. See things with
do
new
things
perspective.
differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Nora? Risk taking.
Risk taker.
Yeah. Having a high risk tolerance, right? Nothing is guaranteed. For example, risk tolerance. is it a guarantee that you'll be a good parent, good dad? No, right? You take the risk, you prepare your chance, but that's a risk that you are chasing towards. You're not thinking, I will need to be the perfect parent and then have a kid. I will have a kid and learn to be the perfect parent.
Yeah, because like if you wait for you to become like the perfect parent, then you might as well never have kids.
Yeah, because to become a
Right.
perfect parent is you got to be a parent first.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
And so my point is this, is that every single principle of being an entrepreneur can be transferred into life. So that means entrepreneurship is no longer a
like a business kind of thing.
or a hobby, it's a necessity.
Mm.
It's a requirement for life. If you're a good entrepreneur, then you're good for life, right? But I've also seen examples where someone may be a business owner, but they're not a good entrepreneur because they cannot handle life. But I have seen all entrepreneurs are good business owners,
Mm.
right?
That's deep.
Next slide.
Yeah, and like if you look at this slide, I think like the purpose of us showing this slide is just for us to help you guys with like a reality check, for lack of a better word, is that on the top there you see like most of us had the plan just to graduate, for internship, for a company, you live life, La La Land,
Mhm.
good for you. But the reality is like with the previous slide as well, is that we have to figure a lot with pay cuts, reduce hour, layoff, family argument, unhappy, and the kids going to college, so college tuition, those kind of thing like that too. Maybe let's do divorce too, like in the case of my family, right? And the unpaid mortgages and taxes as well. Because the more money that you make, the higher your tax bracket
Yeah.
will become.
And so what we're telling you this is the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Write that down if you have a notebook.
Yeah,
right?
and like in order to have a successful life, you have to prepare yourself to face these obstacle.
Yeah.
Obstacle like maybe building bridges or something like that.
Is that look ahead, have the vision, see ahead what are some of the potential casualties you'll encounter, and then figure out how to solve them, right? And how to set yourself up so that when they do occur, you're not as affected as if you weren't prepared. Make sense? Perfect. Next slide. I also want to help challenge the concept as well when it comes to the norm or the path that's laid out for you, because you may be thinking that I'm in my 20s. That's my time of my life to have fun. Scott, have you ever been to a concert, rave before? No.
Really? Oh man. Or
Dang.
like playing games. I mean soccer. I mean like with soccer.
Really chill. Yeah.
But like
I know my Mandula has some good life.
some crazy story.
Some crazy story. Yeah.
Gym.
Yeah, good workout too. Yeah, I mean, like 6-pack too. Like people are very obsessed with getting a 6-pack because you look good, you get like a good girlfriend, stuff like that. So we're very obsessed into like making sure that we make our youth the most enjoyable as possible,
Yeah.
whatever that means to us, right? And so the reason why that is due to FOMO, or sometimes called FOLO, fear of missing out, fear of being left out, right? And so their version of FOMO comes from the current version. But my version of FOMO comes from my future version, which is I have FOMO from my 30s and 40s. I do not want to miss out on my kid's first walk. I do not want to miss out on like my kid's first word. I want to capture those moments.
Yeah.
And God forbid, I do not want to miss out if like my kid has bullies at school. I'm gonna show up. I won't be stuck at work. I will know everything that's going on and be there to back up my kid. I don't want to miss out on that.
Yeah, like there's a story that I heard from like a friend of mine, right? He's an engineer working full time right now, and he told me that he met this senior engineer as like a very big company he's working at right now, and he told me that like the like let's say it's Mr. Jim, for example, right? Mr. Jim has a photo of his family, his wife, kids, children on his phone. But when my friend asked like, oh, do you take this picture? He's like, oh no, actually my wife took them. And I was like, oh, like when was the last time you actually hung out with your kids? And he's like, maybe before I started this job, because this job consumed me, It like I thought there was all I need to have a happy family, which is make good figures for them. But now I feel like I'm just breathing at work, like I'm just going to work to provide for my family. there's no other purpose in life. And I feel like I'm just missing out on a lot of the moments that I should have with my kids as well, which is, their like graduation, their first word, right? Or just having fun with them.
Yeah.
So,
Our mentor, he told us many times too that one of the most upsetting moments of his life was when his parents couldn't show up for his kindergarten graduation,
yeah.
right? And that scarred him. And he doesn't resent that. He'll use it as a motivation. Like I'm not gonna be working my life to the bone where I can't even show up to my graduation, my kid's graduation, right? And so overall, I encourage you guys to think in terms of those lenses, like FOMO. What are you really FOMOing on? Is it what everybody else is defining as FOMO, or you define your own FOMO? Okay, yeah. And even this video itself kind of exemplifies some of the common traps that young people fall into when they're so mesmerized by what everybody's telling them to.
Getting into UCLA, graduating with a summa cum laude, working at a prestigious firm, living in the beautiful city of LA. I thought I had made it. I did everything right on paper. But somehow, a lack of meaning developed as a black hole inside me, growing bigger and stronger every day. I was starting to have countless breakdowns at the job I used to be so proud of. Why couldn't I just be happy? Wasn't this the dream I was searching for?
I just feel so stuck in my job. If all I do is to cry today, then I can't get work done, and I need to get work done. So I need to stop crying, but I don't know if I'm like getting depressed from work or something.
I needed answers. Flipping through my high school yearbook and seeing how I so ironically wrote, "Do what you love what you do." It made me feel like a hypocrite because deep down I knew that I didn't choose what I loved. I chose what society would love to see from me.
Right. When I
Wow.
look at this, I think about my sister. She's older than me by 2 years. She's had about 2 years working at KPG, and I've talked to her on the phone multiple times, and she has breakdowns because she just hates everything that she's doing. And I know she did it because mom wanted us to have like a good paying job, but at the same time, at what cost? It costed her like sometimes self pride, dignity. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know why she does anything. Right? She just does it to do it. And now she doesn't have a goal. She doesn't have a plan. She just shows up to make money. So she talked to me a lot of times on how hard it is, and she also has a lot of expectations on her too. But now that she works, she just doesn't know what else to do anymore, right? So I don't know. When you guys watch this video, I don't mean to make the mood depressing, but it's like now is the time to actually understand what your dreams are outside of the what you're fed by society, right? What is your dream? What is your ultimate goal? Right? And part of that comes from your core values. Your dream is a direct reflection of your core values. And it just so happens for us too is that we don't value money. Even though, yes, entrepreneurs do make a lot of money, but we value living behind a legacy, making sure our product service has the most impact to our community to serve people the right way.
Yeah, I mean, like with money, I think you can always, make it out there. Money is like easy to make. Like you get a job or do some kind of like small businesses. You make some product. You maybe trading stock as well. But I think like the hardest thing in the world is not about making money, but making more time for yourself.
Yeah.
As well, and making like an impact on other people and grow yourself as well. Because if you want to help others, you have to help yourself first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even building relationships too. It's like I've noticed too, like when I meet a business owner, like they smile, they have the best relationship with the customers. They treat the customers as family. And I want to have that type of relationship when it comes to anybody I walk across. I know I met Scott and Henry, and you guys don't know who I am, but I want to see you guys as like brothers too, that I want to help. I want to help set you guys on a good path in life too. And I'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. Same thing when I met Jay.
Yeah,
Literally, I met you at a workshop when I was speaking. And look at where you are right now. You know?
It was last
So those
year, yeah.
relationships,
I was in the audience.
but and now you're here as world co-speakers. So that type of relationship, I don't want to give that up for anything, Yeah. The best friends come from the biggest struggles,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. And so overall, like define your core value, what your principles are, and then really maximize on that, and then work towards it ultimately. right? Before I move on, like I just wanted to give you guys like a blueprint of what you guys should do if you guys are taking entrepreneurship more seriously. Take a picture of this if you want, but you know, like we've been doing throughout today, reflect on your core values, gain awareness of your situation, like look around you is your decision setting yourself up for a strong personal economy. Things like find out what you don't like. If you don't know what you want, at least start with what you don't like. I don't like being bored. I don't like looking at spreadsheets all day long, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is at the point where maybe you guys came here, your reason for coming here is for, which is, okay, how do I actually create a lifestyle for myself, right? And it comes from understanding first how society, the world makes money. Can I get the next slide, please? And so we can skip this video. Thank you.
Have you guys ever seen this like cash flow quadrant before? If you know Robert Kiyosaki, he's the author of the very popular book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and this or like the cash flow quadrant is one of the book as well. And in this one, he kind of explained about so there's 4 different ways of making money,
Mhm.
right? You can also make money as like an employee, a self-employed, which is like maybe you contracting or like you run your own restaurant kind of thing like that.
Yeah, remember what I told you guys in the beginning that the $5 that you have in your hand is not equal, right? Because the way you make that $5 makes all of the difference in your life. You could have put 1 hour into that $5, right? There are some places that pay that rate, and or for example, you could have made that $5 through an asset, through a system that you generated. That system could have been built through a network. Common systems include things like automation, manufacturing, where now there are machinery to do the work. And most factories you see are not run by human workers, but by machines. But if you want to have more so of a humanity, right? Because sometimes I feel like Elon Musk might not be human, right?
I think with
That's your
like Mark
opinion?
Zuckerberg too.
Yeah, if you're
kinda
too much
guy.
into automation, then you kind of lose that sense of like relationship. And so I like to be the type of person who has a system that is backed up by people. Right? Either to my employees, my business partners, my clients, etc. I work together for a common vision, a common goal, and I feed them my value. I feed them my effort.
Yeah,
Right?
like like we believe in people before profit because like if you look at sales for example, right?
Mhm.
The product doesn't move by itself, but then it's the people behind that move the product. So we want to invest in people first because if we invest in people, then in turn we'll get reward
Okay.
from it.
Let me give you another example. Who here knows who Howard Schultz is? No one? Who knows Starbucks?
Yeah,
A lot
everyone.
of us know Starbucks, right? And so the thing is, how long has coffee been around? Who knows? Thousands of years. How long has Starbucks been around? Probably about 100 years, about a century.
Not even. Like,
Yeah, a bit less than that.
Yeah, like-
But it was the man behind Starbucks, Howard Schultz, that popularized coffee as it is today. It
Yeah.
became more mainstream. And so people get value from coffee not because it's been around the longest, but because the person behind it created change or mainstreamed it. Now it's a trend,
Yeah.
you see it everywhere.
everywhere, man.
Yeah. And so are you that type of person? Are you the type of person who, if you value people, you try to figure out how I can get something out there to the most people I can, so they're happy, they're satisfied, right? Then you have a big business system. Versus who here has ever wanted to think of like starting a restaurant? I'm good at cooking. Anybody?
Me too.
Small restaurant, small business, Scott's, Henry, no? Maybe Jim, Padula, small gym? Yeah. Right? Now ask yourself this question is, do I make money if I don't show up? Will you make money from your gym if you don't show up?
I mean, you can hire like managers,
Yeah.
employees.
Exactly. You can hire some few employees, 1 or 2 here and there, but how do you know you can fully trust them with your business baby, essentially?
Yeah, like for me, if it was like a restaurant owner or like a manager out like restaurant, then and someone else paying me to do the job, then I just want to do like the bare minimum.
It's like if your parents, like, you don't fully trust in a babysitter to know your kid as much as you do in a way, right? But how come we still send our kids to school? Because that's a system. Because it allows more kids to be taken care of at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how you've unlocked yourself passive income, which is so you can get many things tasks done at the same time.
Yeah, you don't have to do it perfectly, but then if you replace maybe quality with like quantity, and then if you do it well enough, then you can be pretty efficient yourself.
Yeah, and that leads then to our next point, which is efficiency. How do we get to our end goal and destination the fastest? Can I ask Scott, what is like a destination that you want to arrive in traveling wise? Like any country, states, continent. Go back to Vietnam. Go home.
home country.
Okay.
Home country.
Okay. What is the best way to get to Vietnam?
No.
Oh, like vehicle,
um,
like transportation. I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Is it possible to go there by yacht, by boat?
by boat as well.
Yeah, that's where my parents came from. Boat people. You know? Yeah. But this is a dark joke. But yeah, it took the longest, right? As boat people. Yeah, exactly.
ahead,
Ship, yacht. Yeah. And so there are people who prefer the slow way. Go to work, 9 to 5, paycheck to paycheck, bam, 65 retirement. Versus I not only want to make the most, but also be there fastest, the most efficient and effective. Guess what? Plane. Right? So we need to start thinking about our decision from that lens. What decision can we make to allow us the end goal, which is what? Early retirement, the most efficient and the most effective. And to me, by being making income on the right hand side, either as a B quadrant or the investing where money works for me, is the best way to do so. Right? As long as we are open minded to opportunity that can allow us to convert or to migrate over from the E quadrant to the B quadrant and I quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
It starts from there. Okay? And if it's hard to visualize it abstract, can I get the next slide, please? You might want to think about it from like the lens of numbers, which is how much does your life cost? This number right here, this is how much your life costs.
This is not like California now, but
yeah,
by the way, this is like the average American dream.
$3.4 million. In your lifetime, ask yourself, are you making $3.4 million? With tech, maybe. With tech after tax, no. You know?
After tax,
no.
Well,
Yeah. So what does that tell us? It means that we cannot rely on our job income alone. We need to learn how to systemize, expand, scale income, etc. And then we can start affording the American dream, right? Next slide. Yeah, and this is the part where I also want to emphasize at least how we were able to, solve our problem.
Today,
Yeah.
like, solve problem, because I feel like with everything we do in life, we need someone who's like a mentor, or like a teacher to guide us there. Like if you talk about school, right? Then the purpose of going to school is to have the teacher there to kind of explain things to you as well. Because if you learn with reading textbook alone, then it won't be as efficient. Or if you learn how to drive, then you have to have like a driving instructor with you as well. Because if it gets you figuring it out what to do by yourself, then it will take a very, very long time. You have to fail a lot too. And if it's something about our like career, which is like school, business, or our life, which is like like driving, then I don't want to be at risk or like put in too much risk, like compromising it. That's why I want to look for someone who's not been there, done that, who have the lifestyle that I want, and the result that I want.
Exactly. And I think everybody should get some form of mentor. But the best way to think about it before you get a mentor is find a mentor that has what you want, right? Because if you don't know what you want in the first place, then it's going to be harder for you to find a mentor. You don't have a metric to measure
what are
by.
some criteria or like characteristic that you have to look in a mentor? Because I see that the term mentor is used pretty commonly these days. So I just want to hear what do you define as a mentor?
To be honest with you, I look at the intangibles and intangibles too, meaning that I want to see the result of their life. I don't care if somebody is making 8-figure income, right? Not only are they making a good income, but I also want to test and verify the relationship they have with their parents, or the relationship that he or she has with their spouse. Because I grew up with very like parents dysfunctional, always arguing, always yelling at each other, and I want to make sure that a relationship is a role model for me in other areas of life. Things like, how do they treat people? Do they just treat me as like a something to forget, or Does he text me, hey, how you doing? How you feeling? Hey, I thought about your situation. I thought of a way to fix it, right?
Mm.
I've had that. I don't just want somebody who forgets about I exist, right? And other than that, I also look for somebody who is willing to have my best interest at heart. And what does that mean? It means if they fail, if I fail, then they have something to lose. But if I win, if I succeed, then they can succeed alongside me. What does
It's
that
kinda
mean?
rare in like this world though, because with most businesses out there, you have to put someone else down in order to, go up.
Yeah,
Succeed.
exactly. But what does that mean when it comes to our relationship? It means that they have to be accountable and
Mm.
predictable. They can't just tell me any random advice that they haven't tested themselves. It must have worked, because if it doesn't, then guess what? They're at risk. So it should be a win-win situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's kind of rare to find someone like that these days. Not gonna lie, because this world full of
Scammers
calculating,
and
scammers.
yeah,
Yeah.
toxic traits, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I think
And
we can move on
so
to the next point. Now.
next slide, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was just very lucky as well. Like in the same manner, I was reached out to one of my classmates too, and he introduced me to a workshop that was held on campus. And then at that time, I was very intrigued and very, at the same time, skeptical, because I've never heard of anybody emphasize things other than school in my life. So
Yeah.
when somebody would tell me a workshop to set me up for success, or the parameters around achievement, I'm like, who are you to tell me what that is?
Yeah.
Right? And then when I came to the workshop, I met this gentleman, right? Like I had a fair amount of open-mindedness, but I had no idea that he had become such a big role model for not just myself, but other people, because he did what I thought was the impossible. By the time he was 23, that was the last day that he went up to his mom and told her that this is the last day you're going to work.
Wow.
I'll take care of you from now on.
Wow.
Right?
How old was his mom back then?
Like in her 40s or something. He helped her beat the system by 15 years plus. I don't think my cousins can ever do that. And my cousins are in their
he
like
bought back
30s
about 15, 20 years of her life.
of her life
ahead
back.
of time.
Exactly. And not only did he buy back her, but he bought back his. 21 was the last day he ever needed to go to work.
That's crazy, man.
Right?
Like,
And
21 is
that's unheard
when
of.
people, they kind of entered the workforce, but when he left it.
Yeah, it's so ironic. Like that's when the age you start life, and that's the age where he ended his work life.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he flipped the
Yeah.
system upside
There's
down.
no
or something.
work-life balance because he didn't have work.
Yeah, so it's just now life.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it's just life now.
yeah, it's been 10 years, and since those 10 years, he's gone and like brought alongside more people into his vision, his mission, to make sure that young people, we have whatever it takes to succeed. And we have the vision that our parents don't have to continue to struggle in order for us to go to college. We can help pay them off and their expenses, work towards financial independence too. And not only that, travel alongside with them, have the freedom. Because the worst thing I'd ever want to happen is I'm at an engineer, like BME, for example. I make 150K, and I send money to my mom so that she can go on vacation. But guess what? I am at my work. I can go alongside with her.
Yeah.
The whole point of making money is so I can go everywhere alongside her.
Yeah. I mean, I think what our parents want, wanting like a house, a car, it's just for us to be there at the dinner table with them.
Mm.
Because, it's the memories that we have.
Unforgettable.
Unforgettable.
Yeah. Exactly. So I hope you understand too, like as you're looking into mentorship, you must evaluate them based upon your core value first,
Mhm.
right? And then not only that, I started to see that within his entire mentorship team that he put together within a span of 10 years, right? Not a single one of us have told each other like, why should I help you? At any point in time, I'm like they're willing to offer help to me just because we're teammates, we work together.
I mean,
right?
you helped me back then, like a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I want to give back and pay it forward as well.
Mhm.
And that's the mentality, because I'll be honest with you, entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. Nobody understands the pain, the struggle, the sacrifices you have to make. But when you're in the entrepreneurship community, then suddenly there are hundreds of people who know exactly what you went through and know how they solved it.
Mm-hmm.
They went through it.
Like they feel you and then they can like relate to your pain as well.
Yeah, and that's really hard to
Because
come across, especially even in school, to be honest.
yeah.
Yeah, we all go to school, final exam stress, but how many of your friends actually go like, "Oh, I know how to help you overcome or manage your time, or I have solutions, strategies to
I
help fix
mean,
your
you know,
problem."
you can't help someone if you have the problem yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys feel this way too, but I felt like when you were in school, like most people are just working, thinking for themselves,
Uh-huh.
right? But entrepreneurship is really about bridging a community together.
Well said.
Yep. Yeah. Next slide. Perfect. And so I'll just leave you guys off on this because I know it's been a long time for you guys. But say that you guys are ready to embark on any journey for business, entrepreneurship, mentorship, at least just finding yourself. The first thing I encourage you guys to start off with is that growth mindset, meaning that being able to be a sponge of just information, connection, putting yourself out there to seek people that have more knowledge than you. And then eventually, once you have that mindset, then you can work on your character, personal growth, making sure that you're true to your word, you stick to your promises, you don't back out of difficult things. That personal growth will carry you throughout the rest of your career into a leadership position because you at that point as an entrepreneur, you're also a leader. You set the example for others to follow alongside. And if they see you crack down to pressure, then like they think to themselves that that's an option too. So leadership is really about putting the eyes off of yourself and putting it onto others. How can my decision affect other people? Once you have all those three, then you're ready for entrepreneurship. Then you're ready to solve problems, right? I understand some of you guys came here today to get concrete information about entrepreneurship, but today my main goal is to make you guys understand what it takes, what type of mindset you need to adopt before you get started. If you want to know more information, you want to know exactly more like concrete details, then me and Gia are always welcome to talk to you guys at a different time so it can help you guys break down more like viable industries to get started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I get the next slide, please? At the last slide, end. And so I hope that you guys understand that me and G, we're just like you guys. We have normal parents, we have normal education, but we have an extraordinary and like desire life. We want to break barriers, not just be in one.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, you know, when I look at this picture, you know, it's MK and his story back then about a year ago was the reason that inspired me to embark on this journey as well. Because like for me back then, you know, I was very afraid of taking risks and just like doing something different, you know, to step out my comfort zone. But it's just that I heard his story, you know, about like his mom had to go to work at like Russian job and his girl up retiring her early to buy her life back as well. And you know, like you see me back then, you know, I'm not I wasn't very sharp looking. It was like in 2017 when I first came to the US. But it's just that through the journey and through these people that I met, I was able to kind of instill this kind of mindset, like the way I speak right now too. You know, I was very introverted back then as well. But it's just that who I hang around with, that kind of like marinate, that kind of mindset, saturated me in a good way. You know. Yeah, I mean, you know, and just my advice for you guys is, you know, if you want to be successful in life, then you have to kind of hang around more with successful people. And even if it doesn't make sense to you, even if, you know, you don't understand anything, but as long as you know if it's good, it's legal, and it's ethical, and you feel like you can align with the core values, then I think you should, you know, take a chance.
Yeah.
Give yourself a chance to help yourself.
The world needs more people like who are willing to go out there, take risks, and do the impossible, to do the unheard of, because we live in a world full of people who are, no offense, but broke, not in finance, but in mind, in life. And we need people to out there who are willing to wake up to their life and do something different. So I hope that's you guys. I hope that's everybody on Zoom and here today, that you guys are willing to do what it takes to change your life and to make a difference, not just for yourself and your families, but for others as well. So with that, guys, thank you so much for today. It's been an honor and privilege to be speaking with you all. And I can't wait to see you guys in our shoes one day, speaking to others, and helping them embark on their journey.
Yeah, like, you know, I just want to leave it up with a quote, is that life is not the moments that you breathe, But life is about the moment that you take your breath away. So live your life without any regret, because regret is what kills people at their deathbed. It's not your physical health, but it's your mental state.
Exactly. Well said, Jay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, with that said, I'd love to give it back to our amazing, our
Oh.
handsome, our stunning host, Ashadullah.
Yeah.
Let's get it, bro.
Thank you,
so
man.
much, so much, bro.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. Well, I want to say that was amazing. Brown, yeah. I really appreciate everything that you brought all sharing about worship.
Dang.
You were talking like,
An hour and a half?
Huh?
An hour and a half.
yeah, it was kind of long. But it's good though. I think next time we should like rehearse more.
Dude.
We're gonna get it. You hit the gym, huh? Yeah. Yeah. And so I want to say a good night. Have a great one. And thank you so much for coming to our amazing workshop. Take care. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Woo. Yes. How you doing? Listen.
Talking about.
Yeah. Aw, thank you. Oh man. Thank you, man. Oh, is this okay?
Yeah. Đúng rồi, tham luôn là cái ra chưa có là năm nhất vậy đó nắm được mua đâu thầy quân quen dạ thì cũng mà ra được vui thì biết thì nhiều cái gọi là lý giác yeah dạ cái gì khác và nhiều chưa có vâng